Hello, today I will be talking about Toshiko Takaezu. She was a ceramic artist, and I will also be talking a little bit of her background life as well. Toshiko was born and raised in Hawaii, but had Japanese immigrant parents. She was born on the year of June 17th, 1922. Takezu's first encounter to the material of ceramics was in 1940 while she worked in a commercial ceramic studio in Honolulu. Not only did she work there, but she met a great friend named Carl Massa, who served in the Special Service Division of the U.S. Army. And Massa would give her sculpture lessons and inspired her to read, attend cultural events, and open herself to a creative life. Toshiko then continued to pursue her interest with ceramics at University of Hawaii. Then she transferred out to continue her studies at Cranbrook Academy of Arts. Some events that were occurring while she was working was Republicans gained control of White House and both houses of Congress. Violent protests began in Egypt. Britain develops atomic bombs, and Korean conflict continues as truce attempts fail. I will also be going over art movements and different types of arts that were known at the time. And I will be talking about the one that I think connects mostly to her. Pop art was very known at the time, and it was mostly used for commercials and advertisement methods. The kind of art that I think connects back to Toshiko would be Japanese art. Japanese art varies into a lot of different things. There's origami, ancient pottery, sculptures, and ceramics. Why I also think that Toshiko was very into Japanese art is because I read a article and it was talking about how Toshiko was always very into learning about her heritage and creating work that included intersections of East and West, as well as traditions like the Japanese tea ceremony and the nature. Toshiko was raised in a very traditional Japanese household, which inspired her to value her culture and also be inspired from where she came from, which is Hawaii. She was raised in Hawaii, so obviously there was a lot of Hawaiian landscapes around her. Toshiko had a 5-decade-long career. Her ceramic signature was called closed form, and it would unify her work. And my favorite thing about studying about Toshiko and her life is that she had really deep meanings about everything she did. And my favorite thing is that she was really discovering herself while doing something she really loved to do. And that made me want to think about maybe what I want to do in the future and if it's really going to inspire me in my daily life routine and if it's going to relieve me, because her job would relieve her, and that is such a beautiful feeling to have. I also wanted to add in that Toshiko's favorite art pieces were the ones that had hollow spaces of air within, because it was not able to be seen, but obviously it was attached to a pot. She believed that it relates to human and how what is beautiful is what is inside a human, and that is what is important, which I think that's a beautiful message. And she really would put a lot of meaning behind this. I would have never been able to guess that hollow spaces connected back to human. It seemed like the main element that Toshiko would use was her own personal signature, which was named closed forms, and it basically meant that after sealing her pots, she had finally found her identity every time as an artist. She also referred it as the ceramic forms resembled human hearts and torsos, closed cylindrical forms and huge spheres she called moons. Before closing the forms, she dropped a bead of clay wrapped in paper inside so that the pieces would rattle when moved. So Toshiko never had a specific principle or element that she tended to use because she would switch around. At one point, she switched to abstract sculptures with freely applied poured and painted glazes. And then in the 1970s, when she didn't have access to all those materials, she would paint canvases. She was very artistic and wouldn't stay with one certain thing. Her mind would kind of expand to different types. As you can see, her canvases look more like of abstract expressionism as to her ceramics being more of Japanese art. Out of the 6 functions of art, I think that toshiko mainly connects to self-expression, because I was going through toshiko takaezu foundation.org, and it states that it quotes right here, the most importance of the individuality of the artist, self-discovery and self-expression, principles that takaezu carried through the entirety of her life's work. And I also think that when I read other articles and it was saying that she felt relieved doing this, and she would discover herself by making different types of ceramics, I feel like that's more of a self-expression and inner type of thing. I tried to see if people have criticized Toshiko's artwork, and nothing really popped up. But from what it seems like, everybody really loved her, and she was an influential teacher, and I'm sure she inspired a lot, including me. She inspired me to want to really pursue something I would really enjoy and would make me feel relief at the end of the day. This will conclude the ending of my research on Toshiko's life. I know I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. I learned how to have more self-expression on what I would like to do in the future. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed.